Hello, my name is John Kilburn. My job is Associate Vice President for Research and Sponsored Projects, and my primary job is to see that you have all the support you need to succeed with your research at TAMIU. I also want to help you get external grant funding. Feel free to come by or visit KL326 or call me at 326-3221, and we can figure out a plan for helping you take advantage of TAMIU's resources. We also run an internal grant program that can offer you seed money for you to produce your work. Another part of my job is to serve as the Export Controls Empowered Official. Every university needs one of them by federal law, and that essentially means that I have to give the talk to new faculty orientation. Let me be clear here. For the vast majority of you, you don't need to know an awful lot about export controls, because the vast majority of your work is not restricted. However, by federal law, I'm obligated to offer this briefing to you. Feel free to call me at 326-3221 or stop by KL326 if you have any questions about this. I'll begin with the question, what is export controls? Export controls can be commodities, software, technical data, or even knowledge of restricted information. So just even knowledge, in and of itself, can be restricted with who you share it with. There's also something called a deemed export. That means if you share restricted technical knowledge or equipment with a banned foreign country or national from a banned foreign country, that's a problem. Possibly even a violation of federal law. Now, let me be clear that the item you are sharing doesn't necessarily have to be made in the U.S. to be restricted with regards to what you can share. Nope, I got these explosives from Mexico. I'm taking them to South Sudan. That's a problem. Who you share with may be restricted if the person is a foreign national. Now, the definition of a foreign national is someone who is not a citizen, not a permanent resident, not protected by the U.S. government, like political refugee or asylum. Please note that you are not allowed to release restricted software or restricted technical data to foreign nationals. This holds true whether or not the person is on campus for a short time or a long time. It holds true if you are just talking to them on the phone or emailing them. Simply do not release restricted matter with foreign nationals. The question comes up, why do I have to be involved? This is important for all of you doing international travel. U.S. Customs officials are authorized to search and confiscate any electronic devices that are leaving the U.S., even without probable cause. And here is where it comes in for you at TAMIU. Most of you will have at least one device that is heavily encrypted. It is your work-issued PC. We use the encryption to protect student grades and various university records. There are some circumstances where that level of encryption may arouse suspicion from customs officials as you leave the United States. I'll be clear here. It's not illegal to take your work-issued computer out of the country. But there is a possibility that U.S. Customs or other foreign nations would have trouble scanning your PC, and they may be subject to confiscating your PC. Because of that, we frequently offer loaner computers that are not highly encrypted for those traveling short-term out of the country. So if you're leaving about a month or so out of the country, we suggest that you get a loaner. So it's not illegal to take your work computer out of the country, but there is a risk that it may get confiscated. I took a loaner computer with me when I went to Israel, Azerbaijan, and Taiwan in recent years, even though none of my work was restricted at the time. That's all 95% of you need to know. But for the other 5% that may wind up working with restricted data, be cautious about the people you are working with. Those of you that may or may not be working with OFAC, Office of Foreign Asset Control, may possibly have to monitor what you are doing if you are purchasing or receiving something from them. For example, I have worked with a Chinese university as a consultant. I have to answer the question, what am I doing and who am I interacting with? We are not allowed to share restricted matter, patented matter, or anything else that is non-public. Can I talk about my recently published research in Social Science Quarterly with someone in Iraq? Yes, because that's public and it's fair to share with anyone, anywhere, even if it's a restricted nation. So we have a lot more freedom than it may appear. But if you are dealing with something like space exploration, military or homeland security related work, then there is a good chance that you are dealing with restricted work. The list frequently changes, but as of today, there are boycotts in Iraq, Kuwait, Lebanon, Libya, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, United Arab Emirates, and Yemen. Part of our rule in the Texas A&M University system is that we have to have foreign travel approved at least 30 days in advance. And please note that there is a long approval chain that can take a couple of weeks. So start early with foreign travel plans and approvals. This does not apply to your personal travel. If you go to vacation in Spain, have fun and stay safe. You don't need our approval from an export controls perspective. You only need it if you are traveling under TAMIU or as a professor. If you are traveling under space, military, or homeland security research purposes, do not take those items and don't share the information. The list of items that you can't share is extensive. But if you think about it, it's pretty clear about what would be restricted. Think about what you are bringing in terms of potentially restricted technology. When iPads were first introduced, there was a ban in Israel for about 60 days, and they were confiscated when people arrived. So be aware of any potential issue that may arise. And feel free to notify my office if you are taking something that may be questionable. So, are you taking any items related to support defense or space exploration programs? Don't do it. If you are taking commerce-controlled commodities or technical information, check the GPO Access website. Look at the work to see if it could be used as a weapon. The State Department has policies under what they call ITAR, and pay special attention to what they call dual-use items. Things like radiology machines can be weaponized, so don't overlook that. Here is the general test I recommend. 1. The nature, or what you are potentially sharing. 2. The destination, where are you going? 3. The recipient, who are you going to meet? 4. What are they going to do when they get it? 5. Applicable exceptions. Are there any rules that say you shouldn't be doing that? Essentially, it's everything your parents told you when you were headed out as a teenager on a Friday night. If you ever travel with something restricted, you need to notify the federal government and they will either allow the export, require a license, or deny the export. Well, what about my research rights? You are free to share anything that has been published to a broad audience, and you can share that with anybody, wherever, whenever. It's something we call the fundamental research exclusion. So as long as the work is not restricted due to patents or ITAR, you are okay with sharing. If you want to take items related to your work, like samples of equipment, then it depends on your area of work. You can look over the various items that may be of concern. Please review this slide. And here are a few more areas of concern. I've attached what we call the decision tree for reviewing what you can and can't take with foreign travel. Do you need to be concerned? In the vast majority of cases, the answer is no. That said, encrypted software is a red flag, as are many other items. Beyond travel, know that we watch purchasing in terms of professional items through TAMIU. You need to purchase the tools of your trade. My favorite statement is, if a bakery starts importing items that are not flour, eggs, sugar, and butter, then they may not be making baked goods. So history professors don't need to purchase uranium without a really good reason. So we have a few questions here. Will the work A, deal with sanctioned or restricted countries or their citizens, even through phone or email? Will it have foreign nationals working in or visiting the labs? Will the work ship or use personnel to transport items outside of the U.S.? Will the work have restrictions on publication or access to research materials? Let's review. Laptops and smartphones are fine in most cases. It depends on what you load on the devices. I want to remind you that we offer a loaner PC for those traveling abroad for work instead of risking your work PC. And the reason why we do that is the faculty's PCs are heavily encrypted. If you travel with your work PC, you may want to get a letter from our Office of Instructional Technology to explain what is on the PC if it gets questioned. One common question, can I take my personal PC for travel? The answer is sure. Just know that those international laws apply to your devices as well. In terms of shipping, anything shipped internationally must be recorded at TAMIU. U.S. Department of Commerce has the automated export system to disclose shipments of items valued at more than $2,500 or those that would require a license. These are few of the cases and circumstances of export controls violations that have been punished. We have been fortunate to not face this problem at TAMIU. Finally, I want to say thank you, and if you have any questions that arise, feel free to call me at 326-3221 or stop by KL326.